Hi guys, welcome to another video tutorial on AWS by Nitin Livero. Today we'll be seeing how to create a Windows instance in AWS EC2 service. As you can see, I've already logged into my AWS account here. I am right now in North Virginia region. There are other regions to select from. In AWS, I normally use US East region, which is North Virginia, to create my instances. So let's just right away go ahead and open up EC2 service. As you can see, there are no running instances right now, so let's just create the instance. Click on launch instance, and the first step, as I have already discussed on my previous video while we are creating a Linux instance, is to select an AMI which is the Amazon image, OS image. So I'm gonna go with a Windows Server 2012 R2 base, which is eligible for free tier. The second step, we would need to select the instance type, which is basically the configuration of the instance that we want. So since this is a free tier account, I'd be only eligible to use a T2 micro instance, which has 1 GB of memory and 1 VCP, which is not really recommended for a Windows instance, but then that's what we have right now, so I'm gonna use that. Go ahead and click on next, and here in the configure instance details, just gonna do everything as default. One instance, you're gonna use the default VPC, and we have no preference on the subnet. So I would really recommend, if you are not really sure about what you're changing or what you are entering, please keep the values as default as given by the AWS. So let's click on next. Here you can see the storage. AWS have already provided our default storage of 30 GB, which is the bare minimum requirement to install a Windows OS. Just go ahead and click on next and add the tag here. So the name of the instance would be Win12, let's say R2. If you want, you can give another tag for the date that you created the instance, which would be 6th of April 2017. If you can see here, there are two tabs here saying instance and volumes. So basically what it means is, if this tag right now, the name would be applied to both the instance and the volume which is being used by the instance. So if you don't want this tag to be applied to a volume, you can always uncheck this and that tag won't be applied to that volume. So I'm just gonna keep it as default. We go next and configure our security group. So as usual, we'll be going and creating a new security group here, a Win12 security group. And as you can see here, by default AWS has provided one port open here, which is the RDP port, which we would require to connect to the Windows instance. So in earlier video, when we were creating a Linux instance, but the default port that was open was SSH, which was required to access a Linux instance, and the source right now says 0.0.0.0, which means that anybody who have that IP of the Windows instance can access it. So let me just go ahead and restrict it to just myself. So if I click on my IP, it would populate the source with my public IP which I have currently, so no one else would be able to access. And you can see the warning has gone. Right now there is no warning here, and also in the review page also we can't see any warnings, as we saw in the last video when we actually opened the SSH port to the whole world. So just review the details here. This is the AMI, the instance type, the security group, the instance details, the VPC which it is in, the storage details, and the tags here. So Let's review everything once more and click on launch. So again, as you know, we need to create or use an existing key pair, so let's just go ahead and create a new key pair. Let's just say win underscore key. That's the key pair that we're gonna use here. I'm just gonna download. Okay, it seems like that key pair already exists, and maybe I had created that key pair before. So let's just say win12 key. Okay, we are able to download that key here. Let's just go and launch the instance. Okay, so the instance is now launching, and this is the unique instance ID that we have. This ID used to be much smaller till last year, but then since I believe from March of last year, we have been getting notifications from AWS saying that this instance ID length is gonna increase, and for every new instances that we're creating right now, and the instance ID size is what you can see right now. It used to be half the size 1 year ago, but then now, since the number of instances have increased, they have increased the size of the instance ID as well. So as you can see, the instance is running right now. It is doing its status checks as we discussed in the last video. It would be going for the system status check and the instance status check. So I'll pause the video here and we will resume once this particular instance has passed all the status checks. Okay guys, so as you can see here, all the status checks have passed and our instance is currently up and running. So we go to the description part here and we grab this IP with which you'll be able to connect to the instance. Make sure that you're taking the public IP and not the private one, because the private one is the IP which is assigned from the VPC. I'd get to that point of like how that assignment happens while I explain the VPC concept to you guys. So before we can RDP into the instance, we need to get a password. So how do we get the password? So you right click on the instance and say get Windows password. Now it will ask you to load the PEM file that we downloaded while launching the instance. So this is the PEM file. I'm just gonna load it here and I'm gonna say decrypt the password. So as you can see, this is the AWS decrypts the password for me and tells me this is your username and this is your password and this is your public DNS. And it also gives us a warning saying that this can only be done once. So make sure that you write down or copy paste this password somewhere while logging into the instance for the first time, and make sure that you change that password once you are inside the instance. So I'm just gonna take a notepad and copy paste this whole thing so that we can log into the instance. So that's all that we need here. Just gonna copy paste that. Okay, so here I have the instance credentials here. Just gonna close this one, and now we are ready to RDP into the instance. So how do we RDP? You open the RDP connection and you click on Windows R, open the run and type mstsc, and you have your remote desktop connection window open here. Grab this particular IP, put it in there and click on connect. As you can see, it is asking me to enter the password here. So I'm gonna enter the credentials that AWS gave me. And the password. Make sure that you're entering the exact password, which is this one. And click on OK, and there you go, we are connecting to the instance now. So this is the instance here. It will take some time to connect since this is only a 1 GB virtual machine that we are trying to use here. It will take some time to load. So as you can see, it's taking some time now. So it's slowly loading. And hopefully we should have our instance up and running right now. And there you go, that's your Windows instance. So we are inside the Windows instance right now. So that's the Windows instance right there, and that's how we create and access a Windows instance in EC2 service of AWS. If you have any more questions and comments regarding the videos, please post those comments in the comment section here, and I'll try to answer your questions as soon as possible. I hope all of you have a very good day. Thank you so much for watching.